4 times, my decision to let someone stay home alone nearly cost them their life. My name is David. I'm 47 years old now, and I need to tell you about 4 separate occasions when I made a choice that almost destroyed the people I love most. 4 times I decided it was safe to leave someone home alone. 4 times I was catastrophically wrong. 3 of these stories are about my own daughter. One is about a teenager I didn't know, but whose story still haunts me because I know exactly how her parents must have felt. The common thread through all of these incidents is the same: a moment of normalcy. A decision that seemed reasonable at the time, and then the phone call that changes everything. If you're a parent, this will terrify you. If you're someone who's been left home alone, this will validate every fear you've ever had. If you think you're being overcautious or overprotective, these stories will prove you right to be. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear will make you rethink every single time you leave someone alone in your home. These are the 4 times I nearly lost the people I loved because I thought it was safe. Story 1. The first time. My daughter's name is Emma. When she was 13 years old, I realized I had never left her home alone before. Not once. Even for a quick trip to the grocery store, I would insist she come with me. I had a deep, irrational fear of something happening to her while I was gone. Her mother had died when Emma was young. Cancer took her quickly and without mercy. And after that, I became the kind of parent who couldn't let go, who saw danger in every situation. Emma started to resent it. By the time she was 13, she would groan every time I told her to put her shoes on to come with me to run errands. "Dad, I'm 13. I can stay home alone for 30 minutes. "I don't think so. All my friends stay home alone." "I don't care about your friends." One afternoon, after months of her asking and me refusing, I had what I thought was a breakthrough moment. I walked into the living room where she was doing homework and told her I was making a quick run to Target. "You're going alone," I said. "I'll be back in an hour." The smile that spread across her face was worth every moment of anxiety I felt climbing into my car. I drove to Target. I walked through the aisles, picking up random items. T-shirts, light bulbs, batteries, things I didn't even need. And for about 20 minutes, everything was fine. I felt calm. I felt like I had made the right choice in giving my daughter some independence. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was Emma calling. My first thought was that she was calling to ask me to pick something up for her. Something she had forgotten she needed. I answered the phone with a smile in my voice. "Hey, what's up?" What I heard in response was screaming. Not just screaming, absolute terror. The kind of sound that a child makes when something has gone fundamentally wrong. "Dad, I think someone shot a gun. I think someone shot inside our apartment." My shopping cart clattered to the floor. I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I just ran. I ran out of Target. I ran to my car. I got behind the wheel, and I started driving faster than I should have been. "Emma, are you hurt?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady while driving like a madman. "Yes, I'm hurt. Dad, please hurry." The next few minutes are a blur. I was breaking speed limits. I was running red lights. I was driving with both hands, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I was 2 blocks away from my apartment when I saw the flashing lights in my rear-view mirror. A police car? I had a choice to make in that moment. Pull over and explain the situation, wasting precious time. or run for my apartment and hope the cops understood. There was no choice. Not really. Not for a parent. I kept driving. I could hear the siren getting closer, but I was almost there. I was almost to my daughter. I skidded into my driveway with the police car right behind me. I threw the car into park and jumped out with my hands in the air. I'm sorry, my daughter's in trouble. I couldn't stop. The police officers were jumping out of their car, taking cover behind the open doors, pointing weapons at me. One officer approached with his gun drawn, but something in my voice, or maybe something in my eyes, made him pause. "Where are your keys?" he asked. I told him they were still in the ignition. He grabbed them, ran into my apartment, and came back moments later with my daughter. She was covered in blood. I begged the officers to call an ambulance. I was crying. My daughter was crying. The officer who had gone inside told me she would be okay, that her injuries were mostly superficial. Glass cuts from an exploded water glass. But the other officer had to arrest me for fleeing a traffic stop. I sat in the back of that police car while my daughter was being examined by paramedics. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, watching the woman I loved most in the world being put into an ambulance. It turned out that our neighbor had been drinking. He'd been cleaning a gun in his apartment without checking if it was loaded. The gun went off. The bullet went through our shared wall. It hit the glass of water sitting on our kitchen counter. The explosion of glass cut Emma's face and arm. If the glass had been 2 inches to the left, that bullet would have hit my daughter. I pled no contest to the fleeing charge. The judge, after hearing about the circumstances, only gave me a $500 fine instead of suspending my license. The neighbor got a suspended sentence and mandatory counseling. I got something much worse, the knowledge that my decision to leave my daughter alone nearly killed her. Sue. Story 2. The Woman with the Evil Glare. 5 years later, I had mostly recovered from the trauma of that incident. I had started therapy. I had learned to let my daughter have some independence. I was dating again. Life was moving forward. My sister had a son named Angelo. He was 16 years old. Good kid, responsible. His parents trusted him to stay home alone while they went out. One afternoon, Angelo was home by himself. His parents had left him with their 4 dogs for company. 2 of them were pit bulls named Marshall and Sky. Not the friendliest dogs, but protective. Angelo let the dogs outside to do their business, and he saw a woman standing on the other side of the fence. She was around 5'5", late 30s. She was staring at the dogs with an intensity that made Angelo uncomfortable. "You have such beautiful dogs," she said. "Can I pet them?" Something about her made Angelo's skin crawl. He couldn't explain it, but his instinct screamed at him that this woman was dangerous. "Sorry, they don't really like being pet," he said. "But thanks for the compliment." He hurried the dogs back inside. That's when the woman's face changed. It wasn't a dramatic change. It was subtle. Just a slight tightening around the eyes. Just a glare that said, "This isn't over." Angelo locked the doors. He gathered all 4 dogs in a room far from the backyard. He texted his mum that there was a strange woman outside. His mum told him to stay safe, but that they wouldn't be home for a while. A few minutes later, Angelo heard the doorbell ring. All the dogs went crazy. He didn't answer it. Then he heard something that made his blood run cold. Clicking sounds at his bedroom window. Angelo pulled back the curtain slowly. What he saw was the same woman trying to break into his neighbor's house, and she wasn't being subtle about it. She was prying at the window with something metallic. She was being aggressive. Angelo called 911. He stayed on the line with the dispatcher, watching the woman work. She was so focused on getting into that neighbor's house that she didn't notice Angelo watching her. Then there was a shriek. The neighbor had come home early. He had seen the woman breaking in through his window. He attacked her. It turned into a struggle. The woman was fighting back. The neighbor was screaming, and then the police arrived. They had to use a taser on the woman because she was so violent. She was thrashing around on the ground, spitting, cursing, screaming. When the police patted her down, they found a knife and what looked like a gun. She kept screaming that she was going to kill Angelo and his dogs, that she was going to burn his house down. The police determined that she was high on something, that she had mistaken the neighbor's house for Angelo's, that if she had gone to the right house, if the neighbor hadn't come home when he did, Angelo would have been dead. All 4 dogs would have been dead. My sister called me in hysterics. I drove over immediately. I found my nephew sitting on the couch, pale and shaking, with all 4 dogs pressed against him. I thought I was safe, he kept saying. I locked the doors. I called 911. I did everything right. But if she had broken into the right house? He couldn't finish the sentence. The look in that woman's eyes, the glare that had caused Angelo such unease. That glare was a warning. That glare was evil. And we had come so close to understanding exactly how evil she was capable of being. Story 3. The alarm in the middle of the night. My daughter Emma was 17 years old when my wife and I made the decision to take a trip to Canada to visit old friends. Emma was old enough to stay home alone. She was responsible. She had a house alarm system. She had her phone. We felt comfortable leaving her for the week. She had a friend come over for the first night, but something came up and the friend had to leave around 10 o'clock. My wife texted Emma to tell her that she and I were fine with her being alone for the night, just to make sure the alarm was on. Emma said it was fine. She got ready for bed. She turned on the house alarm. She went into our bedroom because our TV had cable access. She got under the blankets with our dog. And then about an hour later, our house alarm went off. A loud, repetitive beeping sound. A red light flashing on and off. Emma told me later that it took her about 15 seconds to process what was happening. Someone had opened a door. Someone had broken into our house. She went through every possibility in her head in those 15 seconds. Could it be a friend with a key? No, she knew where all her friends were. Could it be a family member? No, her brother was out of state. Could it be a neighbor? No, that didn't make sense. Someone had broken into our house while she was home, alone. Emma ran to the bedroom door and locked it. She didn't turn off the alarm because she knew it would automatically call the police after 1 minute of beeping. Then she did something that filled me with a mixture of pride and heartbreak when I found out about it. She went to my wife's nightstand, and she took out the revolver we kept there for emergencies. My 17-year-old daughter loaded that gun. She took the safety off, and she pointed it at the bedroom door. She knelt there on the floor in that position, holding a loaded gun, mentally preparing herself to shoot anyone who came through that door. She called 911. The dispatcher stayed on the line with her. She waited. When the police arrived, they checked the exterior of the house and found no signs of a break-in. Emma let them in. She explained what happened. The officers asked if she wanted them to search the interior of the house to make sure no one was hiding inside. And Emma, in what she later admitted was a moment of poor judgment, said no. "I think it's okay now," she said. The officers assured her they would patrol the area and left. Emma went back to our bedroom. She noticed the alarm was still off. It wouldn't turn back on unless all the doors were completely shut. She realized one door in the house had to be open. She didn't want to search the house alone, but she had to know which door had triggered the alarm, so she got the gun again. She loaded it again, and she went through every room on the ground floor. When she got to the hallway leading to the garage, she found the door wide open. Someone had gotten into our garage. Someone had opened the door that led from the garage into our house. Emma turned on the garage light gun in both hands and looked around. The windows in the garage showed no signs of forced entry. Nothing seemed out of place. She closed the door, locked it, and turned the alarm back on. Then she went through the entire rest of the house, gun in hand, checking every closet, every corner, every hiding spot. She found no one. She slept with our bedroom door locked and the revolver under her pillow for the rest of the week. When my wife and I came home, we investigated the garage. We never found any evidence of forced entry. We never found any explanation for how that door had opened. Our best guess was that it hadn't been shut all the way, that a gust of wind had blown it open from outside, that it had swung the interior door open just enough to trigger the alarm. But we never knew for sure. What I do know is that my 17-year-old daughter spent a night holding a loaded gun prepared to shoot someone. That image will haunt me for the rest of my life. Because what if that door opening wasn't just the wind? What if someone had actually gotten into our house? What if my daughter hadn't been willing to take that drastic action? Story 4. The Man Who Smiled. The last story I need to tell you is different. It's not about my daughter, it's about someone else's. But I'm telling it because every time I think about it, I'm reminded of how close we all are to disaster. A 15-year-old girl I'll call Maya lived with her parents and older brother. Her family had taken in a mentally disabled man named George. They gave him food, old clothes, and other necessities. He worked for a family in the neighborhood, cleaning and doing odd jobs. He seemed normal most of the time. One evening, when Maya's brother was asleep on the couch and her parents were still at work, there was a knock on the door. George was standing there, and he asked for Maya's mother. Maya told him her mother wasn't home. George had moved into the hallway, and when he saw that Maya's brother was sleeping, he lowered his voice and asked for Maya's phone number. Why would he need her phone number? And why was he whispering so he wouldn't wake her brother? Maya told him to come back on Sunday to talk to her mother. He laughed. 2 to 3 months later, Maya was home alone again. Her brother was at her uncle's house. Her parents had gone to see her grandmother at the hospital. It was around 8 o'clock when there was a knock on the door. Maya thought it was her mother coming home early. When she opened the door, it was George. He was standing there with an evil grin on his face. "I need some water to drink," he said. "I'm thirsty." Maya, who had known him since she was 10 years old and had never felt any danger from him except for that last unsettling interaction, let him inside. When she came out of the kitchen with a glass of water, George was already in the living room. He tried to hold her hand. She was paralyzed with fear. He started coming closer to her. His hand reached toward her body in a way that was unmistakably inappropriate. Maya slapped him. "I want to have sex with you," George said, "and then I'll leave." The casualness with which he said it, the assumption that she would simply agree, the fact that he had planned this, that he had probably been thinking about this moment since that first day when he asked for her phone number. Maya told him she was calling the police. George left immediately, but those few minutes had changed everything. I've spent the last decade trying to understand why these things happened. Why was my daughter's water glass in exactly the right place to be hit by a bullet? Why did the neighbor come home early that afternoon when Angelo's house was being targeted? Why did a gust of wind open a door just enough to trigger an alarm instead of letting an intruder inside? Why did my daughter have the courage and the means to protect herself with a gun? Why did George's victim recognize the danger and speak up instead of staying silent? Some people call it luck. Some people call it divine intervention. Some people call it coincidence. But I think it's something else. I think it's the universe sending us a message. That message is this: your children are not safe. Your loved ones are not safe. No one is safe. Not because the world is inherently evil, but because there are evil people in the world. People who will take every opportunity they can get. People who will follow you home from school. People who will stand outside your window at night. People who will work their way into your family's life and then betray you in the worst way possible. People who will prowl your neighborhood looking for an easy target. People who will break into your home in the middle of the night for reasons you'll never understand. As a parent, I spent years trying to protect my daughter from every conceivable danger. And in doing that, I robbed her of experiences. I robbed her of independence. But after everything that's happened, I realize I wasn't being overprotective. I was being realistic. The odds of any one of these things happening are small. The odds of all of them happening to people I know and love are impossibly small. And yet they happened. So now when I talk to parents who tell me they're being paranoid or overprotective, I tell them these stories. I tell them about the bullet that almost hit my daughter. I tell them about the woman with the evil glare who would have murdered a teenager and 4 dogs. I tell them about the alarm that went off in the middle of the night. I tell them about the man who smiled. And I tell them this: trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Never ignore the small warning signs. The glare that lasts too long. The question that doesn't make sense. The person who doesn't belong. And if you can't be there to protect your children, give them the tools to protect themselves. Because one day, when you're not there, when your daughter is alone in the house, when your son is home by himself, when your loved one is vulnerable and exposed, they're going to need to know what to do. And the only way they'll know is if you prepare them. The odds are that nothing will happen. But if you're wrong, if you've failed to prepare them, if you've left them defenseless, those are the odds you have to live with. And I promise you, no amount of time will make that easier. Stay safe and protect the people you love.